So I'm pleased to announce a Historic Preservation Task Force that will do just that. We've gathered experts from many historic preservation disciplines, the development community, and our neighborhoods. Many of them are with us here today, and I thank them all for accepting our offer and challenge to attack this issue and deal with this issue. And it is a challenge. We need to find ways to survey the city so that we can identify and designate the historic resources that we do have. We need to incentivize adaptive reuse. Historic buildings have great character, and we need to find ways to help the development community incorporate that character into new uses. There is a place for regulation, and we need to identify regulations that will help us achieve preservation outcomes that we're looking for. And we need to educate the public that our historic resources contribute to our neighborhoods, our economy, and our quality of life. We have a great team in place to tackle this issue. Our task force chair is Harris Steinberg of Drexel University. Harris, of course, has already strengthened our city through his work to activate the Delaware River waterfront. We'll be getting technical assistance from the National Trust for Historic Preservation. If there is a good idea in another city, we want to know about it, and the National Trust will help us identify best practices from around the country. And stepping up to the plate again, always again, to provide funding for this effort is the William Penn Foundation. God bless them. Philadelphia is a better city because of the work of the foundation, and I want to thank Sean McCaney for his commitment to our city. Finally, we want the public involved. Task force meetings will be open to the public, and I hope residents, businesses, civic associations, and other stakeholders will participate. We have our challenges, but we're headed in the right direction. City Council recently approved new revenue that will enable us to add staff to the Historic Commission. I want to thank Council President Clark and Councilman Squilla, who will serve on the task force, and their colleagues for their support for historic preservation. For more than 20 years, our historic preservation efforts were in the context of a city in decline. There was little development pressure on historic resources. Now, as a city growing in both population and employment, market pressures are threatening our historic resources. So I want to thank City Council, I want to thank the National Trust for Historic Preservation and the William Penn Foundation and our task force members. Your work is of great importance to Philadelphia, and I look forward to the results. And I'd like to now ask Harris Steinberg to please come forward and give you a little more meat on the bone. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Kenny, and to members of the task force and everybody who's here today. It's a great honor and privilege to be asked to lead a group of peers in a conversation and come up with a series of recommendations for Philadelphia's historic preservation ordinance moving forward. As a lifelong Philadelphian and someone who actually served on the Historical Commission for 5 years, I have a deep knowledge of and deep commitment to the built environment here in Philadelphia. I think this is a watershed moment for Philadelphia in terms of preservation. The development pressures that we've seen, which suggest growth for the first time in over half a century, really are kind of forcing us to take seriously how we manage and balance kind of growth and preservation. And it looks like we have the right folks at the table to do this. I'm excited to help lead an open and transparent process with all the public invited to participate in a way that we will kind of figure out as we move on into this. But getting input, buy-in, and education is really what this is all about. Actionable strategies is also the key kind of deliverable that we expect to come up with at the end of 18 months. This is not going to sit on the shelf. It's really meant to move forward quickly because the city is rapidly changing as we speak. So I want to turn over to Siri Warden from the National Trust for Historic Preservation, who is going to help inform the work of this group, as the mayor said, with best practices nationally and internationally. Siri.
Thank you so much, Harris. The National Trust for Historic Preservation, the country's only national nonprofit preservation organization, is proud to accept Mayor Kenny's invitation to join the city's Historic Preservation Task Force. We commend the mayor for his vision in including the protection and reuse of the city's historic neighborhoods in Philadelphia's future development planning, and share his belief that all can benefit from the city's exciting resurgence. The opportunities that exist in Philadelphia's historic neighborhoods align well with our expertise. We have 7 decades of experience helping cities, including Louisville, Detroit, Miami, among others, design supportive policies, create funding tools, and build community support for the reuse of older and historic buildings. We are honored by Mayor Kenny's invitation to serve alongside our local partner, the Preservation Alliance of Greater Philadelphia, the city's Historical Commission, and many others. We look forward to working together to continue the city's proud tradition of serving as an incubator of ideas to our nation. Thank you so much.
So is there any questions? Well, more effective, based on, again, as we said in my opening remarks, that, you know, we were managing a city in decline, and now we're managing a city on the uprise, and there's pressure on existing structures for reuse, and we want to make sure that the reuse is done in a way that's historically, that pays attention to the history and the architecture of the buildings. I mean, obviously, you know, we want a city that maintains its character architecturally. You know, and people will argue about the significance or insignificance of one building or another, and that's why we rely on the experts to give us some guidance. You know, when the development community has their goals, and we applaud them because we want them to continue to do good work in the city, and the preservation community has other goals, and sometimes they clash, and if we can figure out a way to write the regulations and the law and the ordinance better, we will have less of a clash. We'll always have a clash, trust me, between development and historic preservation, but we want to make sure that we have things in place that allow that to happen in a more productive way. And the salvation, I mean, I'll give you a perfect example. This is one. There was a building in the Queen Village area that was an old synagogue, and it was taken over by a new owner. And the new owner proceeded to jackhammer the Star of David off the building. And I was freaking out because it was an outrage, and I was told that we had no authority because the building was not on our preservation list. So these are the kinds of things we need to correct and fix and move forward with people who are both want to develop the city and grow it and also want to preserve its architectural heritage, because it has a great architectural heritage. I mean, you drive through our neighborhoods, you see residential structures and commercial structures that are absolutely stunning, and we want to make sure that we save those. And there are ways of reusing those buildings on the inside and maintaining what's on the outside. So, I don't think it was a prompt for it. I had been kind of trying to do something like this back when I was in council before the Jewelers Row thing, but it is the typical confrontation and argument between two sides, or two or three sides of competing interests that, because of the existing law the way it was, people could do certain things by a matter of right, and, you can't just tell them you can't do it because there's laws on the books and we'll wind up losing in court. So I think we've come to a decent place there. We're getting to a decent place there, but it's not the main reason why. The main reason why is because that guy jacked off the Star of David on that building. It was the thing that still sticks in my craw. And it was unnecessary. It was just, and it just was unfortunate. So, anybody else? Okay, thank you very much.